No one could have predicted that a regular battle rap event would turn into one of the most talked about scandals in hip-hop this year. What started as another electric night of bars and bravado ended in total chaos, and by the time the dust settled, fans weren't even talking about the performances. They were glued to their phones, replaying the same 15-second shaky clip over and over again. A clip that showed Papoose, a man known for keeping it composed, lunging at Eazy The Block Captain backstage. The moment didn't just go viral, it cracked open a door to something far deeper, darker, and more personal than anyone expected. When the footage first hit the timeline, it looked like a misunderstanding. Just a scuffle. No context. No audio. Just security trying to break it up, Eazy falling back, and Papoose yelling something no one could quite make out. But that silence didn't last long. Within hours, whispers turned into threads, threads turned into TikToks, and suddenly the narrative was forming. This wasn't random. This was personal. And the name Remy Ma started popping up in every comment section. A few fans already had suspicions. Remy and Eazy had been seen together more than once outside of official events. She'd been promoting him hard, calling him talented, focused, different. There was admiration in her voice whenever she mentioned him, and at the time, people thought it was just industry support. But now, after seeing her husband swing on Eazy, that admiration suddenly felt like something else. And the questions started to swirl. Was there something going on behind the scenes? Had Papoose finally snapped? One moment in particular from the battle event started circulating too. A moment most fans missed the first time. Remy sitting in the front row, locked in on Eazy like she was the only person in the room. Smiling, nodding. And Papoose? Sitting a few rows back, face like stone. It didn't seem like jealousy then. Now, it was impossible to unsee it. Especially when fans started sharing side-by-side photos of Remy with Eazy, close enough to stir rumors and closer than she'd ever been publicly seen with another male artist in recent years. Then came the reports. Papoose was taken into custody after the altercation. No official mugshot, no statement, but NYPD sources confirmed he was questioned. That's when things exploded. People started accusing him of losing control, of letting his emotions take over. Others rushed to defend him, saying he was protecting his marriage, standing up for what's his. Suddenly, this wasn't about music anymore. It was about betrayal, about loyalty, about public perception. And in all this noise, Remy stayed silent. That silence was louder than any statement. For 2 whole days, not a tweet, not an Instagram story. Nothing. And fans took notice. Was she ashamed? Guilty? Or was she protecting Eazy? Her silence turned the drama into wildfire. Everyone had a theory, and each theory was more dramatic than the last. Some said Papoose had known for weeks, but finally reached a breaking point. Others believed he had found messages, maybe even DMs, that confirmed his suspicions. A few even went as far as to say the couple had already separated, but were keeping it low for the sake of public image. Whatever the case, the truth was buried in speculation. But what no one could deny was this: something was definitely broken. And then, right when the hype seemed to hit its peak, Remy posted a black screen with white text. People think they know what goes on behind closed doors. That was it. No names, no explanations. But it was enough. It confirmed what fans feared. Something was going on behind those doors. Something raw, messy, and maybe unforgivable. It didn't take long for interview clips of Remy praising Eazy to resurface. Her calling him focused, dangerous in the ring, and someone who understands how to move. In isolation, those were just compliments. In context, they were confessions. Fans dissected every look, every laugh, every pause between words. And slowly, a new image of the situation started forming, one that painted Remy as emotionally connected to Eazy in a way that crossed boundaries. Meanwhile, Eazy stayed quiet too. No posts, no rebuttals, just silence. And for a man known for quick bars and sharp words, that silence was damning. It made fans think he had something to hide, because if it was all lies, wouldn't he have cleared his name? Instead, he disappeared from the conversation, at least publicly. Then came the turn. A source close to the situation leaked that Remy and Papoose had been arguing for months, that things had been rocky ever since she started managing Eazy, that Papoose felt sidelined, unseen, and maybe even disrespected. Suddenly, it all made sense. The glances, the stiffness, the fight. It was a buildup of months of tension exploding in one violent moment. But what truly stunned fans wasn't the silence, the rumors, or even the blurry photos. It was what came next. A new source stepped forward, claiming that on the night of the now infamous altercation, Papoose didn't just confront Eazy with fists, he confronted Remy first. According to this account, it wasn't a sudden outburst of violence. It started with a conversation. Heated words, deep accusations. And the most chilling part? Remy didn't deny anything. She didn't argue. She didn't cry. She reportedly just stood there, silent and unbothered, staring at Papoose with a cold, distant calm before turning and walking away. If true, that moment cut deeper than any punch ever could. For many fans, that image, that silent walkaway, was the real heartbreak. In the days that followed, social media turned into an investigation board. The internet began digging. Fans unearthed old photos, half-forgotten tweets, and even lyrics from Remy and Eazy's performances. Lines that once seemed harmless suddenly sounded like confessions, like warnings hiding in plain sight, resentment tucked between bars, distance hidden in rhymes. What had seemed like a rock-solid bond between Remy and Papoose now felt like it had been eroding in the background for a long time. And slowly, the tide began to turn not against Papoose, but against the entire fairy tale. The couple once held up as hip-hop royalty, admired for their loyalty, for how Papoose waded through Remy's prison sentence, for how they showed up for each other, now reduced to just another chapter in the long book of public breakups. Another Hollywood casualty. Another reminder that not everything that shines on the surface is solid underneath. Then, finally, Papoose said something. Not in an interview. Not through a video. Just one quiet Instagram story I loved hard. And maybe that was the problem. 7 words. No shade. No accusations. Just heartbreak. And those 7 words hit fans harder than anything else. Because they came from a man who had always stood strong, always held it down, and now was simply broken. For many, that was the moment the fairy tale officially ended. But the drama didn't end there. That same day, a blurry photo surfaced online. In it, Remy was seen walking alongside Eazy The Block Captain. They weren't holding hands. There were no public displays of affection. But something about the way they walked, in step, close, comfortable, told a story of familiarity. It looked like 2 people who had been moving together for a while. That image spread like wildfire, igniting a new wave of emotions across social media. Heartbreak, confusion, betrayal. Fans were torn. Some rushed to defend Remy, saying maybe her and Papoose had already quietly gone their separate ways long before this photo. Others, though, weren't so forgiving. To them, it felt like a betrayal of everything she and Papoose had built. They called her selfish, cold, disloyal. As for Eazy, he was quickly branded the villain, the homewrecker, the man who stepped into a legacy and helped tear it down. What was once seen as one of hip-hop's most loyal love stories now stood on shaky ground. And nobody knew what was coming next. All the while, Papoose remained silent. Not a single public outburst. No tell-all interviews. No cryptic tweets. Just silence. A heavy, telling kind of silence that said more than words ever could. And in the background, the looming court date tied to the alleged altercation with Eazy lingered like an unresolved chord, always present, never addressed directly. Fans watched and waited, for answers, for apologies, for even a hint of closure. But life doesn't always hand out closure neatly tied in a bow. Sometimes it offers only a hard truth, a lesson dressed in heartbreak. And for many watching, that's what the saga became, a lesson. About fame, about ego, about the limits of loyalty, about love pushed past its breaking point. Now, weeks have passed. The online noise has dulled a bit, the trending hashtags faded, but the emotional wound, it's still open, still fresh. Papoose has been seen at events again, but always alone. No Remy walking in with him, no united front like before. In recent interviews, his tone has shifted, calmer, but heavier. He speaks more often about trust and betrayal, about boundaries, about loving someone who might not love you back the same way. But he never names names. He doesn't need to. The pain is etched into every word, every pause. You can hear it in the weight of his voice. And Remy? She's resumed her public life. She's back on stage, back to promoting music, and often seen beside Eazy at performances. She hasn't addressed the backlash head-on, but her actions speak volumes. Her presence beside Eazy, unapologetic, steady, says everything that her silence doesn't. For fans, it's confusing. Some want to forgive and move forward. Others feel betrayed, unable to reconcile the Remy they admired with the one they see now. Because this wasn't just a celebrity breakup. It felt personal. It was a symbol unraveling. A legacy love story turning to dust before their eyes. And maybe that's why the clip of that swing, of that fight, of that raw human moment, it won't go away. Because it wasn't just a punch. It was heartbreak, disappointment, the sound of something sacred being shattered. And no matter where the story goes next, one thing's for sure, nothing will ever be the same again. This wasn't just about battle rap. This was about loyalty, about what we protect, and what we lose when we stop fighting for each other and start fighting each other.